See, I think we're live. We're going live in a couple places. Make sure it goes live in all of them. Here, very good.
We're going live.
Right on.
Today is the 20th, April 20th, 2023.
Right. So all right, there we go.
All right.
Lawrence, how you doing?
Doing good. I don't think we got our video up. I'm
Let
doing
me see
good.
here. Why is that not working here?
Let's go. We got some good stuff to do.
Well, that is odd. There we go.
All right, there we go. There we go. Did I just pause here? Okay, you can see me. Perfect.
You're back.
Good.
All
Not like
right.
we need to see my face, but it's good. Dusty Bates, how we doing today, sir?
We're doing good. I had a tragic beard accident just a little while before this. I usually have a beard. Now I'm a goatee person, so I had to fix it.
Oh, man. Hey, it's okay, man. You get those issues every now and then.
Yeah. Hey, gotta have some fun with it. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So welcome, everyone. This is Lawrence King, Building Top Agents. I'm here with my co-host,
Dusty Bates, commercial broker.
My man. Today, we're going to be covering, Dusty, how to analyze a deal, right?
Analyze a deal, and if we have some time, I've got some pointers on finding buyers for that deal. So we're going to analyze it as though we're an agent or an investor.
Find a buyer. Perfect.
Yep. And we're going to see if we can find buyers for it. So I think first let's
get going, man.
Let's just jump into it. So I'm going to add this on here.
Okay. So this deal is in this is in your area, basically. This deal, right?
East Sacramento, correct? Yeah. And this again, this is a blind look. I've never seen any of this.
Yeah, I just uploaded it for you here. So you're taking a look at this deal for the first time. This is an OM, and an OM is offering memorandum, correct?
You got it.
So basically, it's something that you present to potential client or leads, buyers, correct?
Yeah, this is what. So this is the marketing piece that you'll put together that paints the picture of the property.
Okay.
It's got a financial picture, pictures of it, condition, the area, what you can expect for rents. It's got everything an investor would want to know about the property in a nice, neat, very nice looking bundle. Usually these are like maybe 8 or 10 pages at most. Some of them can be a lot longer. It depends on the style of the broker.
Yeah, this is seven pages. This is an experienced broker, commercial broker that's been doing this for quite a bit of time. He was nice enough to send this over to me, and basically I wanted to get your input on it. I'm thinking about putting this out to a couple of my buyer leads out there that's looking to invest in commercial. So let's get started. Tell me where we need to start with this whole packet here.
Well, first off, let's go. You know what we might want to do? Let's do these other slides that walk you through how to analyze a property.
Awesome.
And then circle back to this real quick. So let's add this in here.
Okay.
So we're going to analyze buyers and analyze offerings and find buyers. And this again, I've never seen this. I've seen this because I just put this together. So when you're analyzing a property, you need a couple things. You need the offering memorandum, which you have, or you need the basic information for the property, profit and loss. I need a rent roll. I need to know the capital. It's called capital expenses for the last couple of years. I need these basic things to kind of underwrite the property in a very brief way.
Mm-hmm.
TTM means trailing 12 month.
Okay.
So once we have either of these, we're going to underwrite it. So we're going to go through the OM now and go through this kind of list here. We're going to look for any red flags on the profit and loss, right? So do you remember what TIMR stands for?
And he's going to get me with that one. So TIMR, we're going to say taxes and insurance.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Maintenance, management, utilities, and repairs.
Got it. Those are going to be your major expense items. So you'll see if it kind of lines up, if there's anything missing. Sometimes your taxes or your insurance will be missing from even an OM. An agent might have had a raw profit and loss that they just took and they put through their underwriting. And there was no taxes or insurance on the profit and loss because some owners just leave that off. So you'll want to look for that or any other red flags.
Why would they leave that off there? I mean, it looks more presentable.
It's not technically an operational expense that you would, when you're dealing with the building specifically. So owners don't necessarily include it in those write-ups.
Okay.
So when they send you something raw, I showed you an example, I think that was last week, where the owner didn't have taxes or insurance.
Right. He took it out.
And I had to add those in manually.
Right. Okay. And I'll let you get through this, but I want to see how we figure that out. How are you figuring that to run those numbers if you don't have that information? And I'm sure a lot of
insurance, you can get a quote very easily. You should have an insurance, someone who does insurance in your pocket that can give you a quote. And they'll generally say something like per door, here's what we'll charge or something like that for multifamily, and then different for retail strips and stuff like that. And then for taxes, each area is going to have a standard. I usually do like 1.1% of the price point because in California, it's going to adjust to roughly what the sales price is. And then there's non-disclosure states like Texas where you don't have to disclose the price point and they just kind of guess. And then there's a game that in Texas they play where they appeal the taxes every single year. So it depends on your area.
That's in Texas, correct? 'Cause I remember you telling me that, and I've actually seen it on a couple people's Instagram post about the taxes.
Yep, appealing the taxes.
Appealing the taxes every year.
Part of your book of business when you're doing that is you appeal the taxes every year. So you can find those out. Moving, I don't want to go too slow because I know I tend to ramble on. After you find out there's no red flags, you're going to look at the net operating income, and that's going to be your gross income minus your expenses. And when you say gross income, that could mean a couple things. And that's another red flag that you'll want to look for. Is it the gross scheduled income, which is if every door is full and everyone pays on time all the time for a full year, right? Is that my gross income? Or is it the actual income they took in last year? Because if this is last year's income, the vacancy factor has already been, whatever they didn't collect is already out. Whatever the vacancies they had, that's already factored into that number. But if I'm saying this is the gross scheduled income, now I need to do a couple calculations. I need to figure out what do I think the vacancy is going to be and pull that out. Is it going to be 5% vacancy? I need to pull that out. And then what's going to be the vacancy and the credit loss? So how many people are not going to pay? Right. So what are we going to write off as just a loss? And so that's when you're looking at gross income with an OM, you want to make sure that that's factored into their numbers too. So it'll say gross income 2022 actuals, or it'll say, pro forma 2023 income or something like that.
Okay.
And then operational expenses we talked about. Then you divide that and find out the cap rate. So net income into price is cap rate.
Why would someone care about cap rate?
Cap rate is if you were to pay cash for the property, what your annual rate of return would be today, ideally. And so what that does is that factors in all of the expenses and all of the vacancy and everything. So we know what our return will be if we take it over today. Now we could make some adjustments and we'll talk about pro forma. Okay. But today, this is what the return will be. It's easy as an income property. That's what you want to stack it up against other income properties and say, what's that return? And there's other factors too. It may be the same net income or the same cap rate, but the risk might be greater on this other one. So even though the cap rate's the same or the income's the same too, riskier properties generally get a better return. So if it were the same offer, it was the same offered at the same cap rate, you're probably going to consider something more risky as a less desirable investment. Hopefully that makes sense. And we could actually do a whole thing on those types of things that don't, it's not, maybe it's the same net income, but there's different factors like location and risk and length of income that kind of go into how much was I willing to pay for that same $100,000? We could do a whole thing on that.
Right. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and obviously, as far as risk too goes, I guess you would look at the class of neighborhood as well. B neighborhood, A neighborhoods, C neighborhoods.
Yeah. I mean, different areas are going to generally have different cap rates. So we're also going to pull our comps from similar type areas as well, and make sure that the cap rate that they're offering is reasonable for the area.
Okay.
Right. So we're underwriting this too, right? It's not just putting out the OM. So even if we're doing an OM, we're going to have a pro forma because we're going to say, hey, here's the cap rate today. But if you did these things, here's what the return would be in the future. Okay. And so we'll do an underwriting on seeing what kind of value add there could be to the property, because sometimes you'll have a lower cap rate when the market average might be higher, but there's a whole lot of upside to it. So then they're willing to kind of go after a lower cap rate. And then from there, we'll just pull some comps. And so we'll review your property. I think we'll review this now, and then we can move on to some different underwriting. We'll see what we see here.
So for anyone that just joined, we're analyzing it. We got two deals. I haven't showed you the other one yet, Dusty. So we've got two deals we're going to analyze. This one being, I believe this is a 10 unit, if I was not mistaken. I literally just.
I don't know yet. I haven't seen anything about this yet.
Yeah, it's a 10 unit. So I'm just giving you a heads up. This is a 10 unit. The other one we're going to review is less units, but let's go through this one first. Let's see how you do it straight raw, not seeing this ever in your life.
No. So we're going to review this. I got this in the way, so let's remove that.
All right.
10 units, all 2 twos. So the unit mix is important too. So if it were 1-1s or studios, you would see a higher cap rate because of those are much less desirable. And then you would know now why, because they're all studios. But two twos are great.
Okay, so we like 2 twos.
We like 2 twos. That's the most common. 2 twos, 2-1s. Those are the most common unit type. So that's good in most areas. So different areas will have different unit mixes.
Okay.
Probably 16. So we've got plenty of additional parking. Large yard for tenants to enjoy. Interesting. Rents well below market, just like every single offering.
Well, so every OM that you get, everything's.
They'll almost always say they're below market, but this one's saying there's a 90% upside in the rents.
Okay.
That's very aggressive. So that would be not necessarily a red flag, but something I'm going to want to really look into.
Okay.
Because that's a very bold statement.
Bold statement?
Yeah, saying our rents are 10% of the market.
Right.
Of what they should be. Right. So they're $100 a month when they should be $1,000. That seems ambitious. But that may be true. Which would make this probably a really good opportunity. So I noticed right here he doesn't have cap rate, and that could be because these rents are so far below market. Tenants units what? I think tenants/units mean the unit mix. So there's one unit mix of 2 twos. Parking says 24. So this is different than what his other page said, which was 16. Too bad.
So we're breaking this down. You had so this is 10 units. All of them are 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. When you get a mix of, like, let's say studios, one bedrooms, and some 2 twos, what is more preferred? Is it more like more bedrooms because you keep the tenants longer, or studios?
There's more demand and less turnover for 2-bedroom units.
Right. That's what I kind of figured.
In most markets, right? So you go down to like San Francisco or downtown LA, really heavily dense areas.
Yeah.
The demand doesn't necessarily matter. You've got lots of demand for studios. Downtown Sacramento is the same thing. There's lots of studios and they're always full.
Got it.
But in a lot of markets, studios are less desirable. Same thing with 1-1s. So he says 16 covered parking spaces. Okay, so there's 24 total. That's great.
So it sounds like we're liking this deal a little bit here. I mean, just from the verbiage that's been used and the kind of.
I'm liking it. I'm liking the upside that he's saying. Vestina South, Altadera. I see. Okay, so I was confused. I saw East Sacramento. I was like in East Sacramento, but it's Altadena.
Altadena. Okay, so this is not Sacramento then.
Sandwich between Pasadena and the National Forest there. Interesting. We'll have to take a look at their map. Okay, so this is just kind of looking at it, promoting it. Again, let me see here. Cap rate. Yeah, so cap rate he has here, 3.78. And GRM, do you remember what GRM is?
Gross rent multiplier.
Yes. Yeah. So with multifamily, what you'll see is the people who are really seasoned, they know what they can achieve for their expenses.
Yeah.
And a cap rate factors in the current expenses. So a really seasoned person is going to be looking mostly at the gross rent multiplier because they know, hey, I know I can hit exactly this % of the gross income. And so that's what that's in there for a multifamily.
So you said a really seasoned investor or commercial agent?
Either or.
Okay.
But mostly investors are the ones that use that gross rent multiplier. So the market gross rent multiplier is 9.9, which means he's saying that the rents are very low.
Okay.
So interesting. So he says the market income, but he didn't. Oh, there it is.
Pull this thing up so I can take a look. All right, there we go.
All right. So I don't know. Can we zoom in on this? I don't know if you guys can see this.
Let me see if I don't think we can zoom in. That sucks.
I don't think we can. Here, let's do this. No, that doesn't help. Oh, well, that's fine. Okay, so we've got current actual net or gross income is 18,414, which means 184 in total income. They're saying we can just about double that to 300,000. So what he's saying is, what was he saying over here with 90%? There's 90% upside in rents, but he's only doubling the rents.
He's doubling.
Yeah, so he's doubling what the income would be. So the rents are not 90% less than the market. There's not 90% upside. There's 50% upside.
Gotcha.
Roughly. Okay, so gross percentage. So what I would do here, and what I would prefer to see is a percentage of gross income for each expense item, because someone who's seasoned in commercial and multifamily knows kind of roughly where each of those will fall. Like your grounds maintenance, depending on the age, will maybe 4 to 6% of the income. So you'll kind of know where those typically fall, and you kind of zone in on ones that are outside that range. But we can look at this here too. So utilities, grounds maintenance or repairs, that should be about right.
Grounds maintenance 2,400.
Okay.
Now I'm taking the first column is the actuals, and the right column of everything is
these are pro forma. Yeah. So you'll notice he doesn't change anything on the pro forma. So all he's doing is raising the rents. He's not providing anything extra to the tenants. I don't see a CapEx item, which would be kind of outside of this, but okay. Expenses don't seem out of line. What do we have? We have timber, so taxes, right?
Yep. Insurance.
The insurance is there. Maintenance is there. I don't see management, do I?
I don't see maintenance grounds. No.
So there's no management on there. This is fine. You could guesstimate,
For
5
self-managed then, basically?
self-managed, right? That's
Yeah.
usually what you'll see with smaller stuff like this. And they're saying, yeah, you're not going to hire a manager. You're fine. You can run this yourself, but you might not want to.
Right.
And then utilities and the repairs are there too. So this is
Wait,
about right. I would note that he's not.
What was the max? I'm sorry to cut you off. What was the max units that you can have without being required to have a property manager?
An on-site, that'd be 16.
Oh, it's got 16.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're under 16, and even if you have 16 or more, you can like designate someone as the property manager and give them a little discount in rent.
Right.
And then they go take the trash out all the time, and maybe they collect the rents, or it doesn't have to be like an official someone you pay a salary to.
Right.
And that doesn't tend to make sense until about 40 to 60 units to have someone like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would just note that the expenses on the pro forma haven't changed, but the income's doubled. Current rent, pro forma rent, $1,300, $2,500 each. Exact same floor plan. Okay. Here's our pictures.
So they're all 2.2s, correct?
All 2.2s. I imagine since they're exactly the same square footage, they're going to be the exact same floor plan.
Floor plan out league. Okay.
And so you're looking at value add opportunities for this kind of thing. So I'm looking at some of the fascia that could be updated.
The fascia boards?
Just the outside, looking at the outside, that could be kind of had a facelift probably. Here's some different looking ones that look nice.
The roofs. I mean, I'm always looking at CapEx up front at the roofs and any pictures around the foundation area, any cracks, anything like that I could see up front. Okay, what is this here?
Altadena. Here's Pasadena. Here's a little bit of a close up. It's kind of in a little pocket here, which is cool. And that is it. Okay. So it looks like they did this in Reonomy or Real Next.
Real Next?
Yeah, probably Real Next, looks like. Yeah, so let's run some numbers. They didn't give us any pro forma cap rates. They didn't really lean on that. I would really lean on the pro forma cap rates here.
Market cap rate right there is 6.9. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Right here. Down at the bottom left-hand corner, market cap rate.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, this is really 6.9. Okay. I'll trust that. What we would then do is go look at some comps. So I happen to have CoStar pulled up.
Okay.
Let me go look at some comps.
Yes, sir. Let's look at them.
All right.
6.9 on cap rate sounds, great. Especially being in California, in Southern California.
Down there, I imagine it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see here. CoStar.
Average, I think some people get excited about 3.5% in Southern California. So 6.9 is like a gold mine in California. Southern California, I should say.
Let's see. I'm not super familiar with that far outside of Sacramento for multifamily. So let's see what it is. So CoStar, you can do CoStar, you can do LoopNet, you can do Crexi. And what we would do, other than pull comps, is we're then going to look at pulling buyers that we could find. But
buyers,
CoStar's buyers that we can find with CoStar or LoopNet. But with CoStar or with LoopNet and Crexi, you're only really going to be able to find on-market stuff, which you can still call on. So you could then only find on-market comps. If you have CoStar, you can find off-market comps that sold.
Gotcha.
Oh, we clicked the wrong button. Let's go to sales.
So if you don't have access to CoStar, what can you? So you can use Crexi. You can use.
LoopNet's fine. You'll be able to pull everything that's on market and then run some comps there.
Okay.
Doesn't mean they sold at that, but it's better than nothing.
And so I know for like residential, we're looking at everything in a half-mile radius first. If there's
Mhm.
if we can't find any comparables in a half-mile radius, we will stretch it out to a mile radius, right? Is that the same idea and situation here?
We want comparable markets. It's going to be more difficult to find similar comps.
Right.
So we have to start to draw like boundaries. Like East Woodbury would probably be a boundary here, and we can kind of go up and around here.
Yeah,
Um,
gotcha.
so we do something like this, and then expand if we needed to.
Yeah, if you don't find anything in that perimeter,
Mm-hmm.
how far out do you go where it's considered a comparable or at least close?
If I need to go too far out, like if I had to go all the way down here, I would want to check and see if it's a similar type market, or I'd in my analysis kind of adjust, if
Gotcha.
it's a worse market or better market.
Right.
But if I need to, I'll go elsewhere in town for similar type markets. So I'll
Understood.
just, there'll be a pocket of listings here, and then I'll go into a different area of town and find a pocket of listings or properties that match. Why is this not connecting?
You're going in the
What's going
mountain.
on? Are you? Oh, I did corridor. Sorry. So corridor will pull things within a range of those markers, not draw a polygon.
Gotcha. So there's some of the tools that's in CoStar.
Yeah. We can look at traffic too, traffic frequency. So these are properties that have sold after multifamily after April of 2021. And we'll want to look
2021.
at similar size.
It's another
I
question.
think.
How far back do you guys go as far as looking at analyzing the deal? Like how many years since
I'll start it
sold?
like this, like about 2 years, but I'll go back, as
Years.
far as 5 years sometimes, and just
Okay.
consider the market at the time.
Yeah, because I was going to say with the market right now and how it changes. Obviously, it's not affected. Commercial is not affected as much as residential. Well, it's not as it's not the same as far as when you look at a commercial deal opposed to residential. Residential we're only going back like max 6 months now, or even 3, with the market changing. Right, you're going back 2 years in this market.
Yep.
Correct. Wow.
Yep.
2 years in this market.
Multifamily hasn't changed a whole lot.
Okay.
I'm going to move this out.
And anyone that we have here watching in live, if you could please give us a like, follow, subscribe, any platforms that we're on, we appreciate it. At Talk CRE, this is Talking Commercial Real Estate.
All right. So we're going to want to look at stuff that's similar to what we were seeing there. A lot of these don't look as beat up as that one. So that might be why the market rents are so much higher. That also means, unless you're going to change that one into looking like these, that you may have a lot of difficulty reaching those market rates. 5 units, 8 units. So this would be something we can look at.
Now, on this situation, would you contact the commercial agent to find out more about the tenants, the property, and the tenants in there? Because I know.
Yes, any offering I get where I'm going to present, I always call the broker and get the deal story. So he said some stuff in here, but there's probably a whole lot of other stuff behind the scenes that
Behind the curtain.
Just wasn't there.
Right.
So So we're going back 3 years now. Let's see if anything else pops up.
And what's the max to go back? What's your max that you're going
I
back?
wouldn't go back more than 4 or 5 years. Let's see, 5 years. Let's just see if something comes up.
5 years is kind of like your cap. And then
Yeah.
at 5 years, I mean, is that even a? I mean, how much weight does that really hold? 5 years.
The weight that we want to put on things is stuff like this. This looks similar-ish
Okay.
to what we were looking at. This looks a little bit similar. The other ones were in way better condition is the problem. So you're going to have to figure the adjustment for that.
That's
Might do
2019.
This one doesn't have a cap rate, so it's probably an outlier.
Okay. And it's not 10 units either, right?
Right. All right. So we could run a quick report on those. We'll go look at them. Actually, let's go look at those first.
And then walk me through this. Tell me what we're looking at when we're looking at these comps. I mean, obviously it's not going to look like the same product, right? It's going to look totally different in most cases than what we currently have. Right?
Yeah, so we have a lot of filters that we can do. The only filters we have on here are multifamily between 5 and 15 units. Remember, if we go to 16, now we have a whole different can of worms with the on-site that we have to figure out.
Right.
So we probably only want to go as high as 15. I really don't want to go down to fourplexes.
Okay.
So I'll go down to 5, and that was kind of my thoughts there. And then we now have gone back. Did we go back 5 years? I think.
Yeah, you went back 5 years to look at stuff.
So this was 2021. So I start looking at these, but we're going to run a report that'll put all the information here together.
And what are we looking at here?
So all the information that CoStar has on it. So here was the buyer. Here's the detailed transaction. So they held it for 20 years.
Is the buyer's contact information on there?
Yes. Yeah. So
it is.
I've said, public information. There it is. What I've told you is any retail strip that sells in my market, they get a call from me, the buyer and the seller. I pull up these. I've got a saved search. I've got 30 on there right now, and I pull it once a month, and I call and introduce myself to anyone I don't know. And then there's probably a seller out there who has an exchange need, and I talk to them about that.
Wow.
Okay. So I'll still include this. Looking at that data. And then this is what you'll do. You'll go through all these and just kind of look at these are obviously in a lot better condition, but they're very similar.
They're similar. I mean,
probably being paid for it, right?
Right.
So, but these could be upgrades. So he said on there were 16 covered garage or car spaces. So you could possibly turn those into enclosed garages, and that would be an upside in your income stream.
Okay.
Because you would charge
so
for
that's
those.
The value add there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very clean property. We can still use that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had this one we did not select.
On our subject property, did he give us inside interior shots or no? Do we even?
No.
Yeah. Do we even care?
We do. You saw the inside of that one looked very clean. The outside usually matches the inside. So we can kind of guess at the condition of the interior units.
I mean, that's where you're going to get cost per door. I mean, as far as repairs and all that stuff. If we got one shot of inside of one of the units.
Yeah, so I'm actually, that's a good point. I don't know why he didn't. So these are probably the covered spaces similar to what we saw. This is a good one to use, actually.
What year was this?
Should include that. This was 2019.
2019.
So what we'll do is we'll do a rough analysis and see if his pro forma cap rate matches up with what was sold, or his cap rate in the pro forma. And then we could, if we wanted to, run a pro forma with all the nicer buildings and see what their cap rate actually is. Or we could expand it to the full market, just if we're lazy, just expand it to the full market and see what the average cap rate is. He says it's a good deal at 6.9.
What do you have on this one?
Let's see here.
2018
for this one.
What's the cap rate?
And sometimes there's no cap rate. Yeah, 4.31 on this one. See, this one sold at 4.31. Pretty clean looking property, but that's back in 2018.
Right.
So I don't know how we would. Oh, they're all individual units. Wow, so that's why it sold at a lower cap rate.
All individual units. That's more roofs, more capex.
Yeah, the demand for an individual unit is big.
Right, super high.
So these are our reports that we can run. What I would usually do is take the comps that I like. I would plug them into something that's going to look like what I'm going to show you. But this is the quick way to do it. Contact quick stats. There we go. All right.
And now this report, are you provided? Go ahead.
Well, there's program price. The report that I would put together would have each comp on its own.
Yeah.
Compared to the subject property and all of its stats.
Your presentation to your potential buyer, your packaging this all in one. Are you utilizing like build out or Reonomy or anything like that to create the report?
So we at EXP Commercial, we've got build out included. So I just use that. I used to use Reonomy, but since I get build out included, I just do that. And I think it's better. Okay, so where's my
right? I mean, and in other cases, like other brokerages, are they using build out or Reonomy for this type of stuff? Or
I'm sorry, I'm confused. What was the question?
As far as when you package this together and they present it to their buyer, what are they typically using? What is the average person normally using to package this for their buyer?
Something like build out or a Reonomy would be fine.
Okay.
So trend report. We need these graphs. That's my favorite part. And then the quick stats, right? Okay.
And then when you're running this deal, while you're doing this, like how long should it take you to analyze a deal or to underwrite a deal?
We should be pretty. I mean, we're taking our time here.
Right. No, but typically it's around what?
You can do back of the napkin stuff in a half an hour. All right. I've done that before where I pull the comps, I run these graphs, and then we will include the comps, the graph, and then stats for the subject property and say, hey, I think it might be worth X. Do we want to take a closer look and move toward listing it?
Gotcha.
And that's generally how I'll do it. But if we're going to run a full report where it's a full BOV on the property,
right?
We're also, this is when it's a little farther down the line. We're going to be running a rent survey. We're going to be really digging into the comps. Like right now, we're just kind of, rough guessing some. Okay, so the graphs aren't showing up here for us. That's unfortunate. But usually there'll be a graph. Each of these will be a subject property, and it'll have a price per unit, price per foot, gross rent multiplier, and cap rate will be the 4 graphs that you have. And it'll stack up the comps against the subject property for a certain price. And then I'll go to the owner and say, where would you like to place your property in this graph, right? And they'll select a price point, and it'll be like, well, that puts your graph way off the market. What am I missing? Mm-hmm. So here, can you see this? You might not be able to see this. Are you just looking at the CoStar still? I can't see you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the property, CoStar property.
Okay. Stop screen share.
Cool.
Let me do this. There you go. So we pull something like this.
Okay.
And again, the graphs aren't showing up, but you can see there it's got the low, average, median, and high, sale price, building size, price per foot, cap rate, gross rent multiplier, and price per unit. The four metrics you want to consider is cap rate, price per unit, price per foot, and gross rent multiplier. And so you'll just consider what those four averages are and compare it to yours. So he's saying this is only a one count. So something went wrong with the CoStar report here. So we would have to underwrite the whole thing. But you see what I'm saying on that. That's unfortunate.
This is one in particular. This is just one property, right?
Yeah, it only pulled one property. I'm not sure why. Let me go back and see here.
I mean, for the sake of time, too, you don't have to. I mean, we can just run with that one. Is that one the most comparable for us?
No, well, you usually want three at least.
At least three comps.
Let's run the numbers just while we're looking at this then.
Cool.
I'll share it again.
Once again, this is live, so Dusty hasn't had time to even look at this thing. I've just popped it in. So if you're just now joining, this is analyzing a live deal that Dusty had no idea where it was at, where it was located. Matter of fact, we thought it was in Sacramento, and it's actually in Southern California, close to Los Angeles, Pasadena. 10 unit.
All right, so let's do this list here. So this first comp, $317 a foot.
$317 a foot.
But price per unit, how many units? Can you do that math for me as we're going through? 2.5 divided by 8.
Okay. You want me to do the math? Give me 1 second. Let me grab the calculator here. All right, what are we doing?
What is 2.5 divided by 8?
2.5 mil.
Correct. Sorry.
Divided by 8. 312, 500.
Got it. Okay. And I wish they had the footage here. Is it here? Good. Okay. So square footage was, what's our price per foot? Price per foot.
317. I think that's what you said earlier. That's what I have written down.
Well, we're looking at price per foot as well. So we want price per foot, gross rent multiplier, and a cap rate. And yeah, there's price per foot. There we go. $317. There we go. All right, where's our gross rent multiplier? Cap rate's 5.25. So we'll write down all of our four stats: cap rate, gross rent multiplier, price per unit, price per foot. And I don't see gross rent multiplier. Okay, so we don't have that for this one. All right, this one, 312. Foot price per unit. What is 3.1 million divided by 10?
All right, you said 3.1 million divided by 10. That's 310. I don't even know why I did that on the calculator. 310.
Okay, our cap rate's 5.25. Do we have gross rent multiplier of 14.95?
So right now, what are you looking at? You're multiplying by 10 on.
Well, we don't know the gross income. We know the net income,
Okay,
because we know the cap rate. but a gross rent multiplier will allow us to find out what the gross income was if we wanted to. But the four things we're looking at, again, are gross rent multiplier, cap rate, price per foot, and price per unit. And we want to know the price per foot and the price per unit because that's going to help determine if there's maybe these are all 3 twos, right?
Right.
It's got way more square footage than our subject property. So that's how
Right.
that.
Which are subject properties, 2 twos, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll do that. Okay, next one. And then we'll do the math on all these.
Okay.
This one doesn't count. It's a vacant value add. This one was a good one. See here. Where's the price per unit? There it is. So this one has it 260. And gross rent multiplier 12.86. Price per foot 282. And cap rate was 5%. All right, and this one also. Price per unit was 257.
257.
Cap rate was 431. Gross rent multiplier 14.28. And price per foot was, where is it? Where's my price per foot? Am I missing it? There it is, 506.
506.
So you see that's far off of the others, but it's because there's so much more value to these little tiny, probably one standalone buildings.
Separate roofs, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay, one of these, that second one did not have a cap rate that I saw. 525, yeah. What was this one? 468.
4.68.
Okay. So now we would graph all of the cap rates, all of the. If I had a couple minutes, I could prepare something in Excel, but we don't want to take too much time. But we would let's all add all those up and average them.
Okay.
Let me see here. Where's my calculator?
I have it out too if you need. Oh, you're probably faster right now.
So can you add up and average the prices per foot? Did you have all those?
I mean, you shoot it to me.
Okay. 317 plus 312
plus 312
plus 282 plus 506.
Okay.
Then divide by 4.
I accidentally hit the 5. Shoot it to me again. Come on.
317.
Got it.
312.
Okay.
282.
Okay.
506.
Okay.
And divide that by 4.
3.54.
No, divide by 4.
Yeah. So I just did.
How much is it?
Are we doing $3? Are we doing dollars and cents, or are we talking $300? Because you said 317, so I did 3.17.
Plus, okay. No, 317. I'm sorry.
That's what. Okay, 317. That's what I kind of figured. 317 plus
312.
312 plus
282. 282.
Yep. Plus
506.
506 divided by 4.
Correct.
$354.25.
Perfect. All right, let's add up our units now. 312,500
$312
plus 310,000
plus 300
and
12,000.
10.
Oh, 10,000. Okay.
260.
260.
Mm-hmm. And 257,000. Sorry.
Yeah, that was my fault earlier. Okay, I got 1.129.
And divide by 4.
All right, got 282, 377, and 50 cents.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah. All right. Gross rent multiplier 14.28.
All right, hold on one second. 14.28.
28. Yep. And then 12.86.
12.86.
14.95.
Okay.
And then we divide by 3.
Divided by 3. 32.12.
I had $14.03.
Was it average?
Yeah, we're talking the average gross rent multiplier.
Give me those numbers one more time.
14.95.
14.95.
12.8 and 12.86.
12 point. Hold on one second. 14.95. Right?
Mm-hmm. 14.95, 12.86.
Okay.
And 14.28.
Yep.
And we divide by 3.
3. I got 14.696.
Got
So 14.7.
That is correct. Okay. Wait, I had 14.03. Oh well. Let's call it good. Interest of time. Cap rate 4.31.
Hold on, give me one second. 4.31.
Yep. Plus 5.
Plus 5.
Plus 6.68.
Plus 6.68.
Mm-hmm. Plus 5.25.
Okay.
And divide by 4.
5.31.
Okay. So those are our averages for the comps. I wish I could draw on this somehow.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. If you had like a little drawing board you can put on there.
So we've got an average cap rate of 5.31. Let's go back to this guy.
Okay.
Average cap rate of 5.31. You got a cap rate here of 378. Market cap rate of 6.9.
Right.
So how realistic is his? How realistic? That tells me that's a good deal.
That's a
if
great.
his income numbers are correct, yeah.
So we got an average of 5.31, right?
Correct. Yeah. So if we were to apply the market cap rate to this, which is net income here, pro forma, 207. Yeah. So you would have a asking if he had the market rents and all things being considered, he'd be asking 3.9 million. So if you can do this, you make a lot of room for yourself. But these numbers tell me that's a good return. Average gross rent multiplier is 14.96. This one says
16.13, right?
That's what his is. He's telling me the market is actually 9.9. So it looks like he's off there for some reason. So I'd want to investigate that.
Okay. So we're calling them on that one.
Yeah. Say, hey, I ran some comps and it looks like in that specific area, here's the gross rent multiplier I came up with. What's the difference? What's the disconnect there?
Right.
Price per unit, we had an average of 282. His asking price per unit is what?
I'm trying to look for
What is it? 3 million?
It's 3.1.
Okay.
3.1 on this one.
So 310 a unit. So he's asking above what appears to be the market per unit on a value add. That's a suspect too. It's like, well, why? You should be offering below, right? Because there's a lot of upside, but you get a lot of work to do. And then our price per foot was $354. His price per foot is $412. Okay, so there's a disconnect in everything except the income and the cap rate. And that tells me he's probably off on his rental numbers and his numbers there somehow. So it would be a great cap rate if you could achieve it, but everything else is above what the market says should be, right? So the disconnect is the income. Okay, so he's priced it above what market should be, and the income's lacking right now, and it's probably still going to lack in the future. It's going to come back in line with the market. So it's probably not as a lot of upside to the rents as he thinks it is. So at this point, I would ask him about those, and then I'd ask him about his rent survey that he did to come up with the market rents. Because within this, if you do a pro forma, especially this aggressive, you need to have rent comps. And so we saw, let me see here.
I don't know if he has any. I don't think he has anything in this one.
No, he doesn't.
And now, are we normally adding those rent comps in here?
Yeah. So what I'll do, let me stop sharing. We'll switch over to this CoStar as an example.
Okay. Now, obviously, I know we're at the top of the hour, but this analyzing this deal and me asking 1,001 questions is going to take a little bit longer than normal. So I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so here's kind of what it would look like. So it'd be more than one, obviously, but you would have the average
cap rate,
rents, average rent per unit, and vacancy, and you would have a bunch of comps all around the subject property, and it would have the subject property compared to the comps. Right. And it would look something like this. Obviously, we've just got one here. This is just as an example.
And I believe that the subject property that we're analyzing, that was 310 per unit, correct? I think it's 310 per unit.
Let's pull that back up, and I'm going to pull up an example OM. Would that be helpful?
Yeah. Taxes 36,000. I know he has 412.09 per square foot.
Oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Shoot.
412.
Oh, ready. I thought the one I was looking at just for this was one that would work, but you can see what I'm talking about there. That's how we would structure that within the deals, the brochure. So we'd have another page with the rent comps, each of them listed out, and then a map of them with all the stats.
Location what?
Yeah, I've got an aggressive statement here about the income, and here's why, right? So that'll help really, because that's the question everyone else is going to have. And then if that's already answered, then you're going to have a lot easier time getting that sold. So I would probably add that in. I'd probably add some color to this. I know Real Next has some ways to you could add some commentary to it. You could probably expand it a bit so it fits on more of the page. I know RealNext is a bit clunky sometimes, but you can generally force it to do what you want. Yeah, I would add rent and sales comps to this too, would be what I add. Because then you can prove up both of these.
So rent and sales comps.
Yeah. And then, like I said, we're asking them, hey, you know, I pulled some comps and here's what I had for these different metrics. Yours appears to be priced higher than them. Could you show me your rent comps and your sales comps? Just so I can, maybe I pulled the wrong ones, is what I'll say sometimes.
So you,
So maybe I pulled the wrong ones. I'm off. You know the market better than I do.
right.
Do you have your sales comps that you pulled? And I can just, you know, help prove up with my client that this is a legit, you know, great deal.
And what did you come up with average per square foot?
354.
354. That's what I thought. Okay. And he has
412.
9 cents. Okay.
I can't see the carports very well. I would like to see some pictures of the carports. I don't know if those are them, I guess.
I guess
If these are them, these could be turned into exclusive garages and increase the income, right? So he had he does have a line item here for additional income, miscellaneous income, and he's doubled that as well.
What's that, 1,800?
Yeah, but the fact that he's got flat amounts here tells me he didn't have specifically what he thinks the price per foot for rent should be, because they're all the same unit type. So he should be able to have an easy time doing a rent survey and then applying a price per foot to a 2-bed, 2-bath in this area. And then they're each the same square footage, you know, 728. And so that's what I would do is I'd pull a rent survey and figure out what the true pro forma income would be.
So we got some questionable things here that we need to go back to agent and ask him about. And before we put this packet together and present it to our buyers.
Oh, hey, we got a comment here.
Oh yeah, I got that up there earlier.
Right on. You're welcome. But I think we're running out of time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So
we can do this exercise again next week if you want, or.
Yep, I got another one. For next week. I think this is a good topic for people. I think people are liking us analyzing deals.
Okay.
So I know next week we won't be here, but the following week we will. So let's do a part 2 to this bad boy and get everybody ramped up and hyped and ready to go for the next one. Because I'm not going to show you that one. I'm just doing exactly the same thing we did today. Present this just off the cuff.
All right. Yeah, that was fun. We'll see you next week.
I'm Lawrence King, my co-host.
Dusty Bates, commercial broker.
Where can they find us at, Dusty?
Oh, anywhere at Talk or anywhere Talk CRE. Anywhere. Any social media.
Dusty Bates, Lawrence King, and we're out.
See you later.